I just want to tell you that so much, as an example, we had a great 2 weeks watching these crooked politicians not giving us due process, not giving us lawyers, not giving us the right to speak, and destroying their witnesses. It fell apart. Those were their witnesses. We weren't allowed any rights. We had, for the first time in the history of our country, we had virtually no rights, no due process. And despite that, we won. But if you read the crooked New York Times, if you read the Washington Post, which is just a horrible paper, you know, we don't have it anywhere in D.C. anymore. We don't deliver it. We don't give it. We used to buy it. We don't do it. And in fact, I ended it in The Nation because I want them to get correct news, not fake news. But they're bad people. So what happens? What happens is we go out, we win for the people, we keep winning. We won these last 2 weeks so solidly. But if you pick up the New York Times, if you pick up this crazy Washington Post, you would have no idea we won. But you know who knew it? The people knew it. And that's why they don't want to have this. They don't want to see it go on. It probably will because the people are nuts. They're nuts. And I really think probably it's a good thing for us as a party because I think it's going to just walk us right through that election, which is going to take place already in less than a year.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, more future-proving past as Q's posts are coming true. We're seeing news coming out that is confirming what Q told us all the way as far back as August of 2018, and it relates directly to what's happening with this Ukrainian hoax collusion or quid pro quo scam they're trying to run in Congress. We're going to talk about that, plus a bunch of breaking news stories that you guys are going to want to hear, and I hope you guys stick around and check this out. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I always begin by saying, look, thank you to every one of you who's hit that subscribe button. You guys keep this channel growing, and that's what matters, especially because there's content suppression algorithms that are trying to keep it down. So when you come here and hit that subscribe button, if you haven't done it already, it helps defeat that. And that's why I encourage you guys to do it every single time. So I want to say thank you. We're going to pick up where we left off. Obviously, Q post 3636 is where we left off, November 25th. It's been a few days and we haven't had any new Q posts, but we've had even more incredible stories continue to break over the Thanksgiving holiday. And President Trump completely trolled the fake news and exposed them for what they were, which we can actually see as another proof of Q if you think about it, as we'll talk about later here in this episode. But with that being said, I always encourage everyone to come back here, watch these last few videos. There's a lot of great content, and like I said before, there is content suppression algorithms, or there are content suppression algorithms that exist to push this down, and you guys have to defeat that by hitting share on this video and watching these videos and sharing them on your social media. Get the word out that way. If you're new to QAnon, watch this video. What is QAnon? The Great Awakening. It'll give you all the information you need plus a whole lot more. So go check that out, and I really appreciate it. But one more big thing. You guys know it's Black Friday, right? Well, it was Black Friday, but I have good news. There's a big sale going on over here at redpillliving.com/justinformed, where if you use the coupon code SUPERSALE, as it's listed here, you can get 17% off the already discounted prices, so you can get an even bigger discount. So go use the link in the description and come over here and check out redpillliving.com/justinformed, and then you can get your 17% off the already discounted prices. I can tell you guys, I love the liposomal vitamins. They have a B12 supplement, tastes great, and it absorbs really well, you know, and it makes me feel really great when I get these vitamins and I take them, all the supplements that they have here. So, you know, obviously consult your physician, but this is an incredible site with some great products. Go check out Carbon 60 and all their other stuff. Big sale here for Black Friday, so you get 17% off the already discounted prices. Go to redpillliving.com/justinformed. Use the link in the description, and I hope you guys enjoy that. Now, with that being said, let's get into the latest kind of news stories. Now, we talk about just what's happening with all these big tech companies when it comes to like Twitter, Facebook, Google, you know, YouTube, etc. Here we go. There's a story that just came out today about Twitter their CEO, Jack Dorsey, is announcing his plan to move to Africa. Now, this is going to be for a short period of time, it appears. But it certainly begs the question, what connection does Jack Dorsey have to everything that we've been uncovering, especially here on the Q boards? Because Q's mentioned him specifically, it seems, several times. And we're going to go over a few of those, and I think you guys will want to check these out. Starting back in January of 2018 with this ominous post, which talked about 7 out of 10 and something about targeted kills, power out, flight reroutes, flight returns. And that was kind of an ominous message, but it had some context given where it was posted. But then we got more clarity on how @Jack may be involved with whatever is being referenced there in later posts, as it goes on to explain that @Jack and Mark Zuckerberg and Eric Schmidt and John Brennan and Elon Musk, I guess, and some other people with the mainstream media, it asked the question, do you know that we know? Do you know that we see all? Do you know that we hear all? Fear the storm. Nobody playing the game gets a free pass. Nobody. Q. And look, all I got to say is, when you look at some of these posts, it becomes very clear that what happened was this. What Q, I think, is trying to insinuate is that @Jack, or Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, was playing ball with the clowns from day one, giving them full access to everything. And this is something that Q even tells us, that @Jack's basically a civilian puppet, a player in a game. And then, Q says they play for keeps. And then it talks about some meeting that may have been had with Pelosi where there was protection offered, right? And it goes on to give us more insight into how it's connected back to Edward Snowden and Eric Schmidt. And we know what happened with Google and how he ended up stepping down. And it talks about this Project Deep Dream, right? Project Deep Dream, it turns out, according to Q, is Twitter. Project Deep Dream is Twitter. So if Project Deep Dream is Twitter, what it's basically saying is that they gave complete control and access to this app, which was used not only to secretly communicate all of these messages, but then also to spy on their political adversaries and so on, right? Or that's, I guess, what it may be have said there. And it could have been used for a lot more nefarious things as well. So let's keep that in mind too. Then it talks about how, that is what is being referenced, and it goes on to talk about the hidden messages and how Snowden seemed to have received access to the back end maybe of Twitter and was working on behalf of Linda Rothschild, Hillary Clinton, and others, right? Sharing all this classified information that they were able to find and steal, right? They had this technology where they could trace and other devices that were nearby using a tone that would be emitted. So I guess your device would emit a tone, and then it would activate the phone near it or something. Who knows, right? Some very advanced technology. And then it says this right here, don't drop the soap. And this is referring to Jack, and I believe what Q is referring to is the fact that there may be prison involved, right, with any of these actions, right? There's a lot of other posts, and it talks about these different bots that were being run possibly, and how they communicate secretly on these dummy accounts, which are very similar to what has been alleged by Q, I guess, with the secret communications between Hussein and Clinton and Loretta Lynch, right? And there's a few more, and it talks about the slide and how they were basically taking money out, it would seem, to get ahead of what's coming. There's a whole bunch of information here. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but suffice it to say, this could explain why Jack Dorsey's planning a prolonged absence in a foreign country in the continent of Africa. Just throwing it out there. Not to mention, in this other news story, it seems the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, went in front of her parliament basically and said, we just got to take away your freedom of speech, or else none of us will be free. And that's pretty much a good summary of what she said in this speech, and it's indicative of the difference that needs to be continually pointed out here between the European system and the United States, views on freedom of speech. In Europe, in the EU, they believe freedom of expression means you can shut down other people's speech to make sure that other people feel safe to say whatever they want, which is insanity, and it's basically doublespeak for they want to be able to censor what you say, right? But in America, we believe in true free speech, which is the right to say things even if they offend others, because words can't do anything. I mean, there's a very limited scope to how they can control what you can say, right? There's laws about libel or slander, I should say. And then there's laws about, you can't yell fire in a movie theater. But beyond that, there is a freedom that we have in this country that's unlike any other globally. And this is what they try to diminish and take away. And it's a global thing that we have to be aware of. And this movement is pushing a lot of the people in tech in Silicon Valley because they think in their minds, in their little bubbles that they live in, they think it'd be great to suppress your speech and let themselves, because they think they're right in every way. They're the arbiters of morality and truth and what's good in society, and how they know exactly how the earth works, and they know exactly how the global climate is shifting, even though they're wrong most of the time and their predictions never seem to work. But they think that they should be able to silence you so that their truth and whatever they think is real should be the only speech that's allowed. And this is the system that they're setting up over there. And that's something we have to be careful of, especially given what is happening. They're going after President Trump. Look at all the ways they've gone after President Trump here, right? This is a great article that was written by, over here on townhall.com, Derek Wilburn. It talks about this, why they hate him, because he's not in their club. All right, when President Trump got to D.C., he was like, I don't need to go to get, some caviar in these fine lounges and sip wine and make deals and figure out ways to funnel money into corporations that then pay me off or help give my kids jobs for millions of dollars. No, President Trump got in there and said, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to make this American government, the U.S. government, work for the American people, not for the globalists and not for corporate interests, but for the American people. And if it is corporate interests, then it's going to be American corporate interests. We're not going to sell out our manufacturing base. We're not going to sell out our farmers. We're going to make America great again. That's what President Trump came in and said, right? But I love what they said here in the article. If not for firing James Comey, then go to Michael Flynn. If that peters out, there's Stormy and Avenatti. No traction? Russian collusion. Didn't get him? Ukraine's up next. The effort to oust Trump has been nonstop for 3 years and shows no signs of slowing. Right? And I think this is exactly why we have to protect free speech in this country. We can't just continue to let these elites, these coastal elites and their big tech bubbles and their censorship come down on us, and then they try to force the fake news on us, and they try to take away your right to have a conversation and ask questions and look at things and try to objectively follow logic and fact patterns. I mean, so that in and of itself is something we have to be aware of as we continue to await what's coming from John Durham. Again, from Town Hall, they talk about the fact that Washington's awaiting John Durham, but they had these slew of stories last week which seem to say that and I'll put it here as they put it here in the article. They quote the Washington Post, and they say the Justice Department's internal watchdog, that would be Inspector General Michael Horowitz, is expected to find in a forthcoming report that political bias did not taint top officials running the FBI investigation into possible coordination between Russia and the Trump campaign in 2016. But it says, nonetheless, the report will be, quote, criticizing, quote, the Bureau for systemic failures in its handling of surveillance applications, according to 2 U.S. officials, unquote. Now, we've talked about this here on this show. Look, it's terrible. I think what these people did to our Department of Justice and our Federal Bureau of Investigation is disgusting. See, because what they did is they put our whole country's security at stake here. And this is why I think it's disgusting that you're seeing this report come out saying they're not gonna say that there was political bias that tainted the top officials, when we know obviously there was. The text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page where they talk about insurance policies and how Walmart people smell, right? The fact that James Comey's leaking documents trying to undermine the president that he's supposedly working for, right? The fact that you have these people inside of the DOJ and the FBI who have continually sabotaged and continually put together these movements of subterfuge and then orchestrated a coup with the help of the intelligence community against the president. And they're going to come out and say, oh, there's nothing here. There's no political bias. Nothing tainted it. But you know why they have to do that? And this is the reason why it's so disgusting and sick, and which is why I'm so glad that President Trump signed a few executive orders that declared certain emergencies, and we had the military involved, that a lot of justice will be brought. Though publicly, look at what's happening. We're going to have to literally say, for national security reasons, we can't condemn the entire FBI and their top agents and their top directors. Why? Because there were probably a lot of cases that were conducted by those same agents who were trying to set up President Trump that we don't want to have overturned and thrown out of court and criminals released on these, because then anybody could go to the court and say, look, James Comey was the director of the FBI when I got arrested for, running a drug empire in the United States. And I think his corruption tainted my case. I'm not saying that's necessarily why, but that seems to be what logic would dictate, right? That they can't come out and they can't just summarily say that all the FBI was corrupt from top to bottom and that they were compromised by the intelligence community, because that would undermine the institution itself. And to be honest, look, James Comey may have been a dirty, dirty cop, right? And a leaker and a liar, but somewhere in his tenure, I'm sure there were criminals that were locked up, right? And it goes for all these other FBI agents, not to mention there's so many good FBI agents, rank and file, the people that are working every day that we pray for, and we want them to succeed. We want justice, right? So we need a Department of Justice that is on the level, and we need a law enforcement agency like the FBI that can conduct investigations without having their entire integrity undermined at every turn. But at the same time, we need to find these criminals who are sabotaging our government from within, and we need to bring them to justice, right? Or who sold us out to foreign powers, right? And or lobbying for foreign countries and not registering as lobbyists. All of these things have to be exposed. Not to mention the things with Jeffrey Epstein and the human trafficking, sex trafficking, the blackmail, the all of that. We got to continue to get deeper into all of this because it really matters. And don't forget that Q told us about all of this. We have these posts that were all the way back in August of 2018, where Q was telling us about people who are coming out today in the news, like Kevin Kleinsmith and Sally Moore. Apparently, they're two individuals who are now a part of this intelligence community inspector general story that came out, that now Michael Atkinson, after he altered the whistleblower forms to allow for the now infamous CIA whistleblower and his wife, who just happens to be connected to Fusion GPS, right? No big deal there. So they're setting up President Trump here, and it's fairly obvious, and Q told us all the way back what was going on, who the players would be that were involved, and how they have come out now is just more confirmation of things that we've been looking at for quite some time here, right? So don't forget also that we've talked about the fact that the intelligence community has another vested interest here in protecting their own individual networks, their fusion center, whatever they want to call it, which was basically just an operation where they took, as reported here by Mary Fanning and Alan Jones, the Hammer, right, which was a super surveillance system uncovered through WikiLeaks Vault 7, and they basically weaponized it from a place in Fort Washington, Maryland, where they were actively using that super surveillance device, apparatus, to spy on, allegedly, their political opponents, right? And there's been a lot of patriots who've come forward trying to expose this, but at the same time, it's back to national security. It's like, how much of this can really ever come out publicly, or can they admit publicly? We have to continue to bring a light on this and just say, look, as the American people, we want justice. We want equality of law. We want everyone to be able to live here and to have safety and security. And we understand that there's a lot of things that we need, and there's a lot of things that we, can never know about. But at the same time, we want transparency. We want the people who are running these systems to be good people, not using them, exploiting them for their own benefit, using the system to not, I mean, whether it's in the intelligence community, abusing it there, or then they, enrich themselves through politics, setting up these sweetheart deals where their sons go and run multi-billion-dollar investment funds with big investments from China and other foreign countries, or having illegal servers and then having a foundation where all of a sudden you're making hundreds of millions of dollars and your emails just happen to go out to the entire world, basically, that contains special access program information, which is one of the most secure and classified types of information that we hold as a country. There's so much here. I mean, not to mention President Trump every day going against the holdovers from the Obama administration, who just are, doing things like heading the Russia probe office, now coming under investigation for illegally leaking classified documents, right? And they say President Trump's crazy and that he's paranoid and when the reality is they're the ones who are crazy and deranged, right? Remember this story. We'll kind of wrap it all up with this story. I think it's a great story to kind of finish up on, but it just shows you the way that the fake news is fake and how President Trump was able to troll them. But then not only that, if you go back here, right, what did Q just show us, right? Q gave us all of these examples, especially from this Twitter post, of where you would have the news contradicting itself. So they report one thing and then they report a totally different thing. And, example would be in this Twitter feed, I should say. I'll give you one example as the first one here, where it was just talking about how Melania's white dress was terrible, basically, a scary statement. But Hillary in a white pantsuit was all the rage. And it went on and on and on. And this was something Q told us to look at, right? And then guess what President Trump does? He does a master level troll over the mainstream fake news media. What does he do? He basically pretends that he's going to Mar-a-Lago to spend Thanksgiving and play golf and just hang out and not really do much, right? When in reality, he gets on a secret jet somehow, which, the president, I'm sure, has his tricks, right? God bless him for, keeping that secret, because that's good, right? But gets on a plane, goes to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan and has Thanksgiving with the troops, while the mainstream media is reporting on the fact that he is going to golf at Mar-a-Lago because they sent the decoy motorcade, presidential motorcade to Mar-a-Lago, or to the golf club at Mar-a-Lago, I think, or somewhere. Anyway, that he's out golfing. That was the whole story that they rolled with. So I love how somebody put this over on Twitter. They said, tweets out Rocky photo, right? You guys saw that where he had his head photoshopped on Rocky's body. Press goes nuts, hops on an unmarked plane to Afghanistan, sends fake motorcade to golf club. Press goes nuts again, says he's golfing, feeds troops in Afghanistan, press crickets. And all the press are just like, ridiculously coming out and saying, oh, it was not intentional, we just didn't know. It's like, yeah, right. You were just trying to dunk on President Trump because you thought you had the best story of the year, that you're going to make him look bad on Thanksgiving because he's out golfing, when in reality, the man's out with our troops, having a wonderful meal and keeping morale up and being there with the people who are on the front lines fighting for our freedoms that we enjoy in this country, right? I think I'm in favor of that as an American. I wish they would highlight that more instead of trying to just highlight all the negative stuff and paint President Trump as this evil, racist person. But it is a genius troll by President Trump, and I think that's a good place for us to go ahead and wrap it up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. A few more things before we go. Watch these videos. Like I said, share them on your social media. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. And leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about all of this. Download the Brave browser. Once you download it using this link in the description, you have to hit that install button, and then you run it just like you would any other internet browser you use, like Internet Explorer, or Google Chrome, or Mozilla Firefox, but it's better. It'll block the ads, and it has a built-in VPN and Tor browser. So use the link in the description to download it, install it, run it, and that'll help contribute to this channel as well. So don't forget to download the Brave browser for free today using the link in the description. And a few other ways you can help out. Come find me over here on social media at JUSTINFORMED on Twitter, where you can get all my great, thoughtful, clever tweets, and we can have a conversation over here outside the boards. Also, or outside YouTube, I should say. And also you can come check me out at JUSTINFORMEDNEWS.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk, links to the Q stuff, different news sites, breaking news, and of course the latest videos from the channel here. That's JUSTINFORMEDNEWS.com. Also, we are trying to build up other channels. We're all publishing content. So if you guys want to, this is going to be a good alternate in case anything happens to the main channel here on YouTube. But this is the BitChute channel, which is Just Informed Talk. There'll be a link in the description. You can go check that out. Also, if you want to make a financial contribution, you can come over here to Patreon, patreon.com/JustInformedTalk, and you can make a contribution. It's a monthly donation. You guys keep this channel alive with your funding, so thank you so much. Also, I have a GoFundMe set up. If you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, links to all of it will be in the description, so go down there if you guys want to help out. But with that being said, I would like to wrap it up where we always do with a segment we call God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And there's just a very powerful psalm I want to share with you guys that when I read it, it just resonated with me, and I hope it resonates with you the same, and then we'll kind of talk about it. But it just is called Joy in the Morning, and it's Psalm 30. It says, I will exalt you, Lord, because you have lifted me up and have not allowed my enemies to triumph over me. Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you healed me. Lord, you brought me up from Sheol. You spared me from among those going down to the pit. Sing to the Lord, you his faithful ones, and praise his holy name. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor a lifetime. Weeping may spend the night, but there is joy in the morning. When I was secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Lord, when you showed me your favor, you made me stand like a strong mountain. When you hid your face, I was terrified. Lord, I called to you. I sought favor from my Lord. What gain is there in my death, in my descending to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your truth? Lord, listen and be gracious to me. Lord, be my helper. You turned my lament into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with gladness, so that I can sing to you and not be silent. Lord my God, I will praise you forever. Amen. And I just wanted to share that because that's kind of like just how I feel about life in general. You know, as it says there, it's weeping may spend the night, but there's joy in the morning. Every morning we wake up, we can be glad that God has blessed us with another day to honor him, and God strengthens us. As it says here, it can make us strong as a mountain. And we just have to continue to look to the Lord and remember that our lives are but for God, right? God can turn our lamentations into dancing and clothing us in gladness from the sackcloth of our sin. It's incredible what God can do, and I just want to share that with you because it's those kind of words that help me continue to be positive and to have faith and to have hope for everyone. And that's really the faith that we need and the power that we need in our hearts. And it's the message of the gospel, I think, and that's really what we need to share with everyone out there, is the joy of worshiping the Lord and the joy of the gospel through the eternal salvation that we have received from the sacrifice of Christ on the cross. That's the message we need to put out there, and I think that this psalm kind of helps to solidify that for me, at least. So I hope it helps you do that as well. But that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I want to say thank you guys for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. Remember, come here, click the big red subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit it, punch it, tap it, dab it, whatever it, hit the button, the like button, the thumbs up button, if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.